What's up, guys? So if you're not aware, the Crash Bandicoot Sane Trilogy on PS4 finally got some DLC. Yes, we got DLC for Crash Bandicoot Sane Trilogy. Now, the DLC really only pertains to Crash Bandicoot 1, so there's no Crash Bandicoot 2 DLC or no Crash Bandicoot 3 DLC, and there's no new DLC overall for the whole package. It's just for Crash Bandicoot 1. Technically, you can't really call this DLC because this is some stuff that was actually cut from the first game. Actually, back in the day, I think if you had like a Game Genie or a Game Shark or something like that, you could technically access this level. The reason it was never on the first game legally or on... No. What's up, guys? So if you're not aware, the Crash Bandicoot Insane Trilogy on PS4 finally has DLC. Yes, it has DLC. Now, the DLC pretty much only pertains to Crash Bandicoot 1. We don't have any Crash Bandicoot 2 DLC, and we don't have any Crash Bandicoot 3 DLC, or we don't have any DLC for the whole package. It's pretty much pertaining to Crash Bandicoot 1. Now, technically, this is DLC for the Crash trilogy on PS4, but technically it's not. Why do I say that? Because this was actually content that was supposed to be in the original Crash Bandicoot way back in the 90s, but they cut it from the original game. Actually, I think if you had like a Game Shark or a Game Genie or something like that, you can actually access this on the original Crash Bandicoot 1 disc back on the PS1. So technically you could have already played it, and there's actually some videos on the internet. If you look online, you can actually find videos where people are showcasing this level on Crash Bandicoot 1 way back on PS1. The reason they cut it from the game is because actually, if you're not aware, Crash Bandicoot 1 specifically is one of the hardest Crash Bandicoot games, and not just Crash Bandicoot, but video game in general. Is it the hardest video game ever made? No, of course not. There's other really hard video games, not just Crash Bandicoot, but Crash Bandicoot game is already hard, and the developer Naughty Dog cut it from the game because they were like, well, let's cut this level out because it's a little bit too hard for people, and I want them to be able to beat the game. Because as you know, if you've already played Crash Bandicoot 1, whether it be the original or whether it be this Crash Insane Trilogy, Crash Bandicoot 1 is a hard game. Not just for a platformer, but for any video game. It's a hard game. There's hard levels in this. And also, if you're not aware, this DLC is actually free. Now, it's not going to be free forever, and don't make a big deal about it, because let's be honest, the DLC is not expensive if you forget to actually buy the DLC. Now, this DLC is going to be free for about 30 days. Depending on when you're watching this, I may be a little bit late, so it may be 29 days, 28 days, but if you're watching this in the future, sorry, it already expired. But it's only going to be, I think, about $2 something to buy this if you're going to be buying it after it's not free anymore. But it is going to be free. Now, it's only one level. It's called the Lost Level. So you're not getting anything too crazy. You're just getting one level that was cut from Crash Bandicoot 1. So you are getting an old level put back into Crash Bandicoot. The reason they're actually giving this DLC to us is because they looked at like games like Dark Souls and Bloodborne, and they're like, people actually play these hard games, so let's re-release this Lost Levels, one of the levels that was actually really hard, and let's put it back in the Crash Bandicoot so you can actually play it legally for the first time. If you don't know what Lost Levels is, it's basically a level just like Slippery Slope. There's a level called Slippery Climb or Slippery Slope, something like that. I could be saying it wrong, but it's one where the platforms go up and down, and then you have guys who stick out of windows with their arms or feet, and you got to spin them, and then you got these moving platforms. If you played Crash Bandicoot 1, then you probably know what I'm talking about. It's already a hard level, but they basically took that principle and made it even harder with the Lost Level, or whatever this thing is called. I'm actually going to show you how to download it right now if you want to go ahead and download the Lost Level free DLC for Crash Bandicoot. Again, it is going to be free for about 30 days, and then after 30 days, it's going to cost you $2 something or $3 something to download this DLC to the Crash Bandicoot Insane Trilogy on the PS4. Without further ado, I'm going to show you how to actually download this DLC. Now, there may be other ways to download DLC for PS4 games, but this is really the only way I know how to download games for PS4. What you want to go ahead and do, you want to go to your PS4 and you want to move over to the PlayStation Store. Of course, you want to open up the PlayStation Store, so go ahead and open up the PlayStation Store like I'm doing. Once you're on the PlayStation Store, you want to take, of course, your controller and go ahead and go up to the top. You can see me moving on screen. So I'm on the top. I'm not on the sidebar. I'm on the top. And you have PlayStation Store, you have Search, and you have Cart. What you want to do is you want to go ahead and go over to Search. You want to click on Search. And once you click on Search, you want to search for Crash Bandicoot. So let me go ahead and search for Crash Bandicoot. Okay, you can see after I type in CR, it should come up Crash Bandicoot Sane Trilogy game. Go ahead and click on that. And once you access this, it should take you to the game. And you can see you can buy the digital game for $39.99. If you move your cursor over to the right, you can see there's an add-on. There's one add-on. That is going to be the DLC for the game. Or you can actually keep moving down and you'll see it. I do apologize. It's called Stormy Ascent. I did call it Lost Levels or something like that, but it's called Stormy Ascent. So you can go ahead and download that. I've already downloaded it to my game, so I'm not going to download this in this video. Just click on it, you can start your download. It only takes literally like a couple of seconds to download because you're not downloading a whole new section of the game. You're not downloading a whole new world. You're literally only downloading one actual level 4 Crash Sane Trilogy for Crash Bandicoot 1. Now I'm going to go ahead and move over to Crash Sane Trilogy and show you how to access it in the Crash Bandicoot Sane Trilogy on Crash Bandicoot 1. Let's get started. Now I'm going to show you how to access the DLC I was just talking about for Crash Bandicoot Sane Trilogy. Here I am in Crash 1, and as you can see, I am on the first island of the game. Now there's a couple of spots you can actually access it. Now I'm not sure if you can access the DLC if you haven't beaten the game, but the way I'm doing it, I've already beaten the game, so you may have to beat the game again. I'm not sure if you have to beat the game to access the DLC. I want to make that very clear. So if you can't access it the way I'm doing it, maybe you have to beat the game. So I'm just letting you guys know I've already beaten the game. Now you can either be on the last island of the game, or you can be on the first island of the game to access it. Currently, as you can see, I am on the first island of the game. What you want to do is, if you're on the first island of the game, you want to go all the way back to the beginning. So you can see the very first level of the game is Insanity Beach. That's the very first level that you start out with on Crash Bandicoot 1, right? But now, as you can see, what is that purple blinking little dot on the island? That wasn't there before. So go ahead and move over. You'll see to Stormy Ascent. Now this is not going to take you, and you're not going to be playing the level like right now. It's actually going to take you to the last island of the game. And once you go to the last island of the game, then you can see Stormy Ascent. So you can see right here, there's Dr. Neo Cortex, we got the Great Wall, the lab, we got to Insanity Beach, and then we got Stormy Ascent. So you can see everything right there. There is Stormy Ascent. Now as you can see, you do get a gem and you do get a relic. I don't know what happens after you beat Stormy Ascent because I have not beaten Stormy Ascent. Unfortunately, in this video, I'm not going to be showcasing Stormy Ascent. Why am I not going to be showcasing Stormy Ascent? Well, because actually, I've already tried to play and it's way too hard. I'm not saying it's unbeatable or it can't be beaten. What I'm saying is it's too hard for me to beat. So I don't want you guys watching me fail and fail and fail and fail and fail. And to be fair, since it is one of the levels that they cut out of Crash Bandicoot 1 to begin with, it is a hard one. Even the developers admitted it was way too hard for most people. But if you don't know what Stormy Ascent is, it's just like a level around here, which I'm going to show you. Moving back, we have Slippery Climb. It's pretty much an upgraded version of Slippery Climb. And you guys, if you played Crash Bandicoot 1 already, whether the original or the remake, you know how hard Slippery Climb can be. This is absolutely one of the hardest levels in the game. I would still say it's not the hardest in my opinion. You may disagree with me, but in my opinion, I don't think it's the hardest, but it's one of the hardest levels in the game. But there you go. That's how you access Stormy Ascent. If you want to play it, go ahead. Don't forget, in about 30 days, if you haven't got your free Stormy Ascent level, you will be having to buy it for about $2 to $3. It's not that expensive if you do end up not having Crash Bandicoot game, or if you forget to download it. Honestly, if you're thinking about picking up the Crash Bandicoot and Sane Trilogy, I would still download it to your PS4 because, well, it's free, and then you can play it once you get a copy of the Crash Bandicoot and Sane Trilogy. Anyway, guys, peace out. I'll see you guys later in my next video. I'm out, guys.